Donald Trump, says the Supreme Court opinion unanimously restoring him to 2024 presidential primary ballots is a big win for America. Today is Monday, March 5th, 2024, and this is the Dunkley Report. Donald Trump says the Supreme Court opinion unanimously restoring him to 2024 presidential primary ballots is a big win for America. The court Monday rejected state attempts to hold the Republican former president accountable for the Capitol riot. The justices ruled a day before the Super Tuesday primaries that states cannot invoke a post-Civil War constitutional provision to keep presidential candidates from appearing on ballots. The court wrote in an unsigned opinion that power resides with Congress. The court's move ends efforts in Colorado, Illinois, Maine, and elsewhere to kick Trump off the ballot because of his attempts to undo his loss in the 2020 election to Democrat Joe Biden. Vice President Kamala Harris has held a meeting with a member of Israel's wartime cabinet who came to Washington in defiance of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The meeting Monday with Benny Gantz, a rival of Netanyahu's, played out as the Biden administration intensifies its efforts to push more humanitarian aid into war-battered Gaza. The White House says that Harris and Gantz also discussed the urgency of completing a hostage deal to free more than 100 people believed to still be in captivity in Gaza following Hamas' October 7th attack on Israel. With contests in 16 states and American Samoa, the Super Tuesday primaries will be the largest day of voting of the year outside of the November election. Both Democratic President Joe Biden and Republican frontrunner Donald Trump hope to amass a string of lopsided victories that will help them move beyond the primaries and focus on their expected general election rematch. Trump rival Nikki Haley faces a tough slate of contests, mostly in the types of reliably Republican voting states where she has struggled to win support, or in states where party rules heavily favor the front runner. Super Tuesday has the largest delegate haul of any day in the primary calendar. A Massachusetts Air National Guard member has pleaded guilty in federal court to leaking highly classified military documents about Russia's war in Ukraine and other national security secrets. Jack Teixeira pleaded guilty in Boston's federal court Monday to 6 counts of willful retention and transmission of national defense information under the Espionage Act. Prosecutors say Teixeira callously disregarded the national security of the United States, and they plan to seek nearly 17 years in prison for him. An attorney for Teixeira says he'll push for a sentence of 11 years. The defense attorney describes Teixeira as a kid, adding, "The defense will show at sentencing that his youth played a significant role in his conduct." French lawmakers have overwhelmingly approved a bill to enshrine abortion rights in France's constitution, making it the only country to explicitly guarantee a woman's right to voluntarily terminate a pregnancy. There were jubilant scenes of celebrations all over France as women's rights. Activists hailed the measure adopted in a historic joint parliament session, convened at the Palace of Versailles Monday evening. The measure was promised by President Emmanuel Macron, following a rollback of abortion rights in court rulings in the United States. Both houses of French Parliament, the National Assembly and the Senate, approved the measure by an overwhelming 780 votes to 72. It says, "A woman's right to an abortion is guaranteed." Two attorneys for then-President Donald Trump orchestrated a plan for fake electors to file paperwork falsely, saying he won Wisconsin in a strategy to overturn Joe Biden's 2020 victory there. That's according to a lawsuit settlement reached Monday. That makes the public months of texts and emails. Kenneth Chesebro and Jim Troupis turned over more than 1,400 pages of documents, emails, texts, and other materials that offer a detailed account of the scheme's origins in Wisconsin. The communications show how they, with coordination from Trump campaign officials, replicated the strategy in 6 other states, including Georgia. The agreements settle a civil lawsuit brought by Democrats in 2022 against the 2 attorneys and 10 Republicans in Wisconsin who posed as fake electors. The first over-the-counter birth control pill will be available in U.S. stores later this month. Manufacturer Perrigo said Monday that it has begun shipping the medication, called O-Pill, to major retailers and pharmacies. A 1-month supply will cost about $20, and a 3-month supply will cost around $50. The Food and Drug Administration last July said the once-a-day pill could be sold without a prescription. It will also be available online. The pill is a hormone-based contraceptive, similar to drugs used by millions of U.S. women for decades. Birth control pills are available without a prescription across much of South America, Asia, and Africa. The European Union has fined Apple nearly $2 billion by forbidding rivals like Spotify from telling users how they could pay for cheaper subscriptions outside of iPhone apps. Monday's move is the 27-nation bloc's first antitrust penalty against the U.S. tech giant. The EU's Executive Commission says Apple muzzled streaming services from telling people about payment options available through their websites. That would avoid the 30% fee charged when people pay through apps downloaded with the iOS App Store. A complaint from Spotify triggered the investigation amid a years-long feud with Apple over music streaming supremacy. Apple says the EU didn't uncover any credible evidence of consumer harm and vowed to appeal. A severely wounded 4-year-old boy from Gaza has come to the U.S. for medical care and a prosthetic arm after an Israeli airstrike killed his family. Omar Abu Kuwait's surviving relatives and a chain of strangers have made courageous, loving sacrifices to help the traumatized child get aid. 2 U.S.-based charities facilitated his exit from Gaza and his treatment, and he'll come back each year for a new prosthetic as his body grows. Yet no one knows what future awaits Omar. For the aunt who accompanied him to America, it was a painful choice leaving her own family behind in Gaza. She knows she might never see them again and feels she has no home to return to. Jason Kelce has retired after 13 seasons with the Philadelphia Eagles. Kelce officially called it quits Monday at the Eagles' NovaCare complex. The 36-year-old ended a career in which he became not only one of the great centers of his era, who played a key role in the franchise's lone Super Bowl championship, but a beloved Philly personality and popular podcast host. Kelce was a 6th-round pick in the 2011 draft. He ended his career by making 156 straight starts, and he earned 6 All-Pro team selections. He said it was always a goal to play his whole career in one city. He played 193 regular season games for the Eagles. Today's news was reported by the Associated Press. This has been the World News for Monday, March 5th, 2024. Thanks again for joining us at The Dunkley Report.